You know, it's been a tough recruiting process for me, and I never thought as a freshman I would go to Oregon State, but I'm still blessed with the opportunity to play Division I ball and to further my education. So,
Talk about the process for it. I know it's been, a real long journey. I mean, talk about, what have you gone through and all that?
well, first committing to Stanford, I know I set my expectations pretty high. I tried my hardest at that, and some test scores didn't qualify for them, and so I know I still had other options, and Oregon State was one of those options. I'm just thankful to be in this position right now. So,
Talk a little bit about the schools that were coming after you. I know you had, quite a few. Just talk about, how were you able to narrow it down?
okay, so Utah and Wisconsin, Oklahoma State, those were the three schools that recruited me very hard during after my decommitment to Stanford. And Oregon came in the picture just a few months ago. And those four schools are very great programs, but at the end of the day, I had to do what's best for me, and I felt that Oregon State was the right place.
Talk about Oregon State. I mean, how did that all come about of you? I mean, because they came in really late.
Yeah.
So talk about, how did that all come about?
With the whole coaching carousel with Gary Anderson and Coach Satake and Toyaki, those are all three coaches who I've grown relationships in the recruiting process. And for me, it was really my official visit to Oregon State. I wanted to see the environment there, the academics that they had to offer, and it was pretty surprising to me. So it was a great small college town environment. It was very efficient, and there were a lot of humble people over there. So.
What coach was the biggest factor? I know you've got to build a certain relationship, with a certain coach. I mean, what coach was the biggest factor of you going to Oregon State?
I would say those three coaches, but ultimately Gary Anderson. I know he's changed schools from here and there, but I know that Oregon State's the place for him. And I love his coaching style, the way he handles his players. He's a great football coach, but he worries more about academics and our social lives, which is important to me. So,
how big of a factor? I know I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask this. Was the Kalani Sitake moving from Utah to Utah State, and did that play in the factor of you leaving Utah at the altar?
Well, there were a huge factor in me choosing between Oregon State and Utah. When they left, there were still a lot of great things I liked about Utah, especially being a local kid and staying out home and playing. Those two coaches have really affected my life, not only in football, but from an academic standpoint as well. They are family to me, and I love playing for family, and that's the type of environment they established at Oregon State. It's a very humble community, and I just love playing for coaches who care about more of the players than they do about football. So.
I know there were a couple of guys from here in the state of Utah that actually committed, even one last night. Talk about, what's that going to be like, playing with a bunch of local guys?
The way the recruiting is going on right now at Oregon State, it's going to be really interesting to see how this recruiting process goes on for a lot of guys. I know Zach Katoa and Noah Tongiai are great players and very close to me in the Las Vegas tournament, and they're going to get some underdogs here in Utah. So,
talk about what are your plans immediately? I know that you're planning on going on a mission. Are you going to deviate from that plan? I mean, talk about your plans.
Oh no! So from the start of this recruiting process, my first commitment was to go on a mission. That was really important to me and my family, and I know the schools coming in like USC and UCLA that were recruiting me, but that deviated from my plan from going on a mission. And I will go on my mission right after I graduate from high school, and then become a Beaver right after I'm done. So
I know you're recruited as a linebacker. Where do you see yourself fitting in with Oregon State? Do you maybe see yourself switching positions, or just really sticking to the linebacking position?
Mostly sticking to the linebacker position. I'm very comfortable with middle linebacker, but I could see myself at outside linebacker in the next couple years. But, you know, whatever they need me to play to fit me in their scheme, I'm willing to do so.
Anything at all you want to say to the Oregon State fans?
No. Just grateful for the opportunity. Thank you for welcoming me into your family at Oregon State. I'm truly humbled and blessed for this opportunity to play Division I ball in the Pac-12. And with the players we have going on right now, we're going to be a powerhouse soon. So, yeah.